Hi guys, so my name is Sarah and today I'm going to talk about caring and handling of snakes. So the first thing that you want to think about when you're handling any snakes or reptiles in general and housing them is how they get their heat. So reptiles are considered ectotherms, which means that they get their heat from what's around them. So from the sunlight, for example. We are endotherms, so we make heat inside of ourselves. But these guys can't do that. So if you ever see any turtles or lizards sitting out in the sunlight, that's called basking. So they're raising their body temperature by doing that. They can also cool themselves down. They do that by digging burrows, by getting in the water, or by just sitting in shade. So the first thing you want to do when getting a reptile is thinking about how you're going to provide that sunlight. So one way, really easy way to do that is with a heat lamp. You don't want the heat lamp to be too close to the animal where they can touch it because you don't want to burn your snake or your lizard. But you also need it close enough that it is going to get hot enough for them. So each specific species requires a different temperature. The other way you can provide heat is by a heating pad. So these are for animals that don't necessarily bask as much and they like to burrow down into the ground. So heating pads go underneath your tank, and it's really important to put something between the glass and your snake. So when I had a rainbow boa, I put a piece of Eco Earth, which is like a green carpet, below, right on top of the glass, and then I put mulch or my bedding on top of that so that my snake couldn't reach the heating pad or the glass so that it wouldn't get too hot. The next thing you want to think about is feeding. So these guys eat mice and rats. You can feed them, they come frozen, pre-killed, or alive. What you want to think about with these guys is you don't want the mouse to be big enough that if it's alive it can hurt your snake. A lot of snakes can get injured from their prey if they claw them in the eyes, claw them in the face, bite them. That's never good. So you want to think about that. The bigger they get, the more likely you need to do to pre-kill or frozen. And also, these guys don't have to eat every day. That's one of the nice things about them. They can be fed about once a week, when they're babies and they're growing, and then as they get older, they can be it can be longer periods of time before they get fed again. So this guy gets fed about once every 2 to 3 weeks. And you also don't want to feed them inside their tank. If you feed them in their tank, every time you stick your hand in there, it's gonna be a feeding aggression, and they're more likely to bite. So putting them in any plastic tub or a cardboard box, just a place where they can't get out, but it's a place for them to be fed. So they don't associate your hand going in there with food. And so then for handling these guys, when you go to pick them up, it's really important to know where their head is at all times. And you really want to be gentle, and you don't want to go over their head. You want to go underneath and just pick them up really nicely. For snakes specifically, they have a lot of, they're all muscles, and so all of their weight is on their backbones. So you want to be sure to have as much of their body supported as possible so that you don't cause any problems with their back. And then also just keeping them in their hands like this, the calmer you act, the calmer the snake's going to be. So if I was going around and super fidgety, the snake would be a lot more active. So having slow motions keeps a lot of less stress on the animal. So those are the main things that you need to know about caring for and handling for snakes. Thank you.